What's up? I'm CD. Um, so every year since I guess like 2009, I've been setting goals for myself, and not particularly realistic goals, but goals that things I want to accomplish, how I want to go about the year. And I feel like this has been really important. It's been a really useful and good thing. Um, so I thought that this year, I've shared the template before of what my goal template is, how it works. And this year I figured I would just walk you through my template of 2025, which I called the year of prime, which is 53 because it's a prime number. And that was my 53rd year. So I turned 53 last year in 2024, but just like this year, it's right at the end. So for the rest of the year, I was 53 up until a few days from now, and then I'll be 54. So I thought I would review my goals and how I went about them or didn't go about them, what worked and what didn't work. So my mission statement for the year was I wanted to make it the best year of my life so far. Yeah, and mainly that would come down to health and wealth. That's what I thought right at the beginning, which was this time last year when I made this goal list. So I broke it down into a number of categories. Improve my overall health and well-being through caloric activity, like doing something to like have exercise every day, through stretching and yoga, through meditation. I wanted to drop my weight down to 160 pounds from about 190, which is about where I was. And I wanted to take no shit from anyone, completely own my own life. I wanted to turn my projects profitable and gain influence. The projects that I had were Future World, which is the book that we published this year, Baoism, which is still going, all my other books, the Lampsters and Lampsterverse, the Laminate, Tamino Michi, which was the novel I was working on at the time. So third was to generate significant wealth, and I can just tell you, I didn't. I definitely did not. And I set really high, auspicious goals on the wealth, and I think that that's just never worked for me. Like setting these pie in the sky goals. So the way I wanted to make money was through writing, through trading, through selling the things that I already own, through influence and sponsorships, through influencing online, things like that, and through Baoism. I wanted to set up sort of sacred journeys tours through Baoism, like where you would go, and visit cool sacred things. I also wanted to make money through crypto, which that did not play out. And people thought there was going to be a bull run in 2025, and maybe for some there were, but I didn't think so. I also wanted to save a bunch of money from the money that I didn't make, and I wanted to put a bunch in my kid's child or college fund, which I also did not do because I didn't make any. I wanted to pay off my student loans and my small business administration from the COVID era loan. And I can tell you that none of that stuff happened. Then there's just stuff. Like, I wanted this to be a great year of adult relationships. And it was. Yeah, not in the ways that I had hoped, but in other ways it was. Education goals, things that I wanted to learn and to master. I wanted to learn 20 songs on the ukulele, just so I would know them. I wanted to learn more than 1,000 Japanese words, and I wanted to start learning Vietnamese, Indonesian, and improve my Spanish. My travel goals were I wanted to go to India, to South America, Cambodia, Thailand, maybe to revisit Laos. And my family goals were to bring my kid here for Christmas, which did not happen this year, but next year I think will, and to buy a home or land in Hawaii or on the Big Island, and also to make sure that my kid had lessons and was playing sports and getting the best that she could get in school. My moonshots were the goals that I wanted, but that seemed out of reach, and those were fandom, to actually have fans and influence on a large scale, like as a writer of books and a teller of stories. To sell a book and have it made into a movie, to set up Baoism as a foundation or a nonprofit or a religious organization, buy a home somewhere in Hawaii, and to start my coffee tea house, Paradigm Santosha, which is still a goal. So none of my moonshots happened. So I'll tell you, in the first quarter, things got really screwed up mentally. Because my dad died, and he didn't leave any will that was shown to us or told to us. There was no letter, there was no nothing. It was just like a big it was kind of a big fuck you to me and to other people that like should have been important in his life but weren't. So it, it was, I don't know, it was what it was. Like, I guess, what can I say? That sounds petty. And I guess it is, but a letter would have been nice. Some sort of like consideration for his grandkids would have been nice. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Knew he was going to die. It was coming. Yeah, no surprise. So who knows about that one, but it really sent me for a fucking kind of wild loop. So the first quarter was pretty terrible. And then the second quarter started off way better. I went to Shanghai, China for the first time. The winter ended here. And in the first quarter, I had some great things. I mean, I was skiing, I was snowboarding. Not snowboarding. No, I don't snowboard yet. But I went snowshoeing, and I took trips to Iwanizumi, to Noborobetsu, to the Ainu National Museum in Upapoi. I did a Nika distillery tour, which was really cool. Got to make my own whiskey. I went skiing with friends here. I took a trip to Furano with my friend Audrey, and I skied with my friend Seiko, and I did all these different tours that were here. So, I mean, there was cool stuff happening, but mentally I was just really fucked by Dad's death. Second quarter was much better. Kind of. Like, I went to Shanghai, and I met a bunch of new friends, had an amazing time in Shanghai in China, and left there just on this like real high. Went to Hawaii, saw my kid, which was great, and then I went to Arizona for my dad's supposed like memorial, which was like a baby boomer fuck you cocktail hour set up by his grieving widow. It was kind of weird, and so then so there were things in that second quarter, and then I met a woman who I thought, like, maybe this is going to be the relationship I've been waiting for my whole life. And it just really didn't happen that way. And it all sort of fizzled out when one day on the phone, like, she said, like, just blatantly, she said, like, this would be so easy if you were tall and handsome. And I just was like, well, I know I'm not tall, but I'm not handsome. And it kind of just like mentally fucked me, because I was already mentally fucked from the whole like dad dying thing. No consideration kind of thing. So there were multiple trips to the U.S. I went camping in Hawaii, hung out with friends. I started to do a little bit of Japanese archery. The Shanghai and Hong Kong trips were really fun and exciting. My grounds here at Satoshi Manor were amazing. Like getting my gardens ready, getting things prepared, setting up the garden. It was really nice to spend Sakura season. I made some new friends, went to the Hidden Buddha, saw the Moai out in Sapporo. And then the coolest thing of the whole year, really the very, very coolest thing of the whole year, my daughter came to stay for the summer in Japan, which was awesome. It was so great to have her here and to be able to like do things with her. And like we hung out and like spent real quality time for a couple of months here in Japan, which was awesome. And so that was the best thing of that period. The third quarter was fun but challenging. I went to Taiwan to see if that relationship would work out with the woman who wanted someone taller and more handsome, and not surprisingly, that did not work out because I guess I had self-esteem issues, but maybe there were other issues involved in that whole scenario as well. But it was a fun trip. I traveled all the way around the island of Taiwan. I went to Lanyu, and I was left with a little bit of emptiness and sadness. I felt sort of lonely and unfulfilled at the end of that trip in the third quarter. But the third quarter had a lot going on in it. I mean, let's see. So there's things that I can't talk about that were pretty great experiences. And having, my daughter here for part of that, the Taiwan trip, amazing things that happened there. And I realized I'm not dead or completely broke. I made a couple of really good new friends here in Hokkaido, and I harvested from my garden and ate delicious food that I grew myself on my land at my house, which was amazing. That's a huge part of the goals that I always want, is to like grow and eat food that is coming from my work and my soul, essentially. And then the fourth quarter was kind of a huge failure for me. There was all kinds of failures on all kinds of different levels. The travel was good, but it wasn't necessarily fulfilling. I made some great friends during this period, and I got to spend some great time with, some awesome people. So a few of the things that I did, I went to South Korea, I went to Seoul, went to Jeju Island, to Busan. I went to Shanghai. I was in Hawaii again. I was at the Lake Toya volcano and got to do like a bunch of things where we went to like private places and stayed in a really nice hotel and had like private onsen experiences. I took the ferry to Niigata. I got to explore Nagano a little bit, which was really cool. In Hawaii, I made some really cool new friends and went to concerts and nightclubs and hung out with people and did cool things. And the same with going back to Shanghai. And, my tourism visa thing is kind of working out, so that's kind of cool. I've started creating some apps and some different games and things like that, which is kind of fun. And I completed the draft of the next book in the Tamanomichi series, which is The Road to Wakanai. And I started exploring some new ways to, live this life in this quarter, because I met friends that gave me some new ideas. The time in Shanghai was really nice. Again, I got to hang out with some friends, repeat friends, and do some really cool things. And the same in South Korea. I met a couple new friends who I got to spend time with and enjoy really good, enjoyable moments with. So all of that was really good. But I'll say where I most succeeded was the health and wealth stuff. Like, well, not wealth, just health. Like health-wise, I didn't lose the 25 or 30 pounds that I wanted to lose. But at one point, I had lost 16 pounds. Now I'm down to, I've lost about 10 or 11 pounds from where I was last year at this time. Meditation, I've been doing pretty good with meditation. I slacked off while I was traveling a little bit. But stretching and yoga, same thing. I didn't do as much as I should have with that. The caloric activities, I'm doing pretty good with that. Like, still doing pretty good. I mean, I'm 54 in a few days, and I feel like I look pretty good, and I feel pretty decent. It was nice that we got Future World published. We did a lot of work. Riona Morgan and myself did a lot of work with my book, Keys to the Riyadh, this year, promoting it and getting that out there. Pet Shitter got a little bit of attention this year, which was great. And, a lot of the other projects, they sort of fell, not through my work, but because I was relying on other people and other projects that I was excited about, like Lamsters. Sort of relied on Lamina One, and this whole thing just sort of fell apart. So that didn't really happen. It's sort of like the NFT publishing that we were planning on doing the past couple of years. When platforms fail, there's not much you can do about that. But if they would have worked, it would have been great. And so maybe that's a thing for next year, is to like really focus on that. So next year, I'm excited about. And as I said, money didn't really work out, didn't really pay off any debts. In fact, I incurred more debts. Stuff, yeah, lots of great stuff. I definitely learned 1,000 words in Japanese. I learned a little bit of Chinese, a little bit of Korean. And maybe improved my French and Spanish just a tiny bit. I didn't travel to India, to South America, to Cambodia, or to Thailand, but I do have a ticket to go to Thailand next year, and I think India is actually in the cards for next year too. I got to spend a lot of quality time with my kid this year, and that is the biggest bonus of all. That's like the best thing. Quality time with my kid, and every day to be able to like touch bases with her and communicate with her. That's really the best thing. I don't think that I developed a fandom. I rebranded myself from Vagabond to Indignified, which I think was a good, positive thing. I needed to sort of leave that past behind. I didn't buy a home anywhere else aside from here at Satoshi Manor. I didn't start my tea house, coffee house, but plans for that have kind of moved along forward. And there's been sort of some things that have happened that maybe will make that more of a reality moving forward. Baoism didn't progress much, but I'm still with it. And I think Baoism still has a very important role to play in my life and also in this world. No books of mine were sold and made into a movie, but every day we're closer to that, right? Because it's going to happen. So every day we're closer. And as far as fandom, I didn't get fandom or influence on a big scale of any kind at all. So yeah, when I look at my goal chart, I break it up into quarters. There is a lot of red, which means failure. There's a lot of orange, which means didn't do great. There's a lot of yellow, which means kind of no real progress there. And there's actually an okay amount of green. Like for the year that it was, this was a really tough, hard year for me. And there were so many things that were challenging this year, coming to terms with myself not being a tall, handsome man, and also coming to terms with the fact that, my dad really didn't give a shit about me. And I knew that my whole life, but I sort of always expected that maybe I was wrong. And that was a hard thing for me to come to terms with, So, I'm 53 today and 54 next week. And I guess that's, everybody deals with that at some point if they have to. So that was my year. That was 2025. I'm glad that this year is winding down. It's been a tough year and, coming to terms with these things. But there were also so many great things. So many great people came into my life this year. So many great experiences came into my life this year. So much great travel and great food and really great people. So yeah, I feel very fortunate, blessed, and lucky. And especially I feel lucky to have such an amazing, cool daughter that is my friend. Even though she's a teenager and in high school now, we still have this great relationship. And that is the biggest blessing of them all. So make a goal list. Maybe you won't succeed in your goals, but it's nice to be able to reflect back at this time of the year and to see where you succeeded, where you failed, where you maybe want to put more work in next year, maybe where you didn't need to put in work, maybe where you don't want to put in work. I think these goal lists are really important, and I hope that all of you will take a page from my notebook and do this. Aloha. Happy New Year.